write out the whole problem, okay? Like, you only need to write what I'm writing on the whiteboard, all right? So we're going to do the same thing that you just saw in the video. We're going to draw and label a strip diagram. We're going to write out our totals and labels, and then we're going to solve it, okay? This is the same thing you're going to do on your graded quiz today. All right, so here is our problem that we're going to start with. Kara ate 8/12 of a candy bar. Marcus ate 1/4 of the same candy bar. What fraction of the candy bar did Kara and Marcus eat all together? So I first want to draw a strip diagram. Okay. What do I know about that problem that I can put into my strip diagram? Okay. Araya, what do I know?
That Kara ate 8/12 of the candy bar, and Marcus ate 1/4.
Okay. Now, are those going to be the total or the parts?
The parts.
The parts. Okay. So that means that we have 8/12 here, and we have 1/4 here. Okay. So if I know both of these parts, but I don't know the total, okay, that brings us to our total and labels, right? So I can see from the strip diagram that I need to find my total. So raising your hand, if I need to find my total, what are my two options? Raising your digital hand, if I need to find my total. Sadie, what are my two options?
Add and multiply.
Add or multiply. Excellent. Okay. So that means that for this strip diagram, I absolutely cannot subtract or divide. Those are not options. Okay. So now I think about my labels. 8/12 of what? Raising your hand. 8/12 of what? David?
No, I had a question.
What is your question?
Wait, how do you know which which two the division or multiplication thing to choose between?
We're literally doing that right now. We have not decided yet. We're in the process of figuring that out. Okay, Brandon, 8/12 of what?
The candy bar.
Candy bar. I'm going to label it CB. Okay, and 1/4 of what, Brandon?
The candy bar.
The candy bar. Okay, so everybody, are our labels the same or different?
Different.
Different? You said this is candy bar, right? And this is candy bar? So aren't they the same?
Yeah.
Okay, so raising your hand. If my labels are the same, what are my two options? I think I might have to start calling on people. I don't have enough hands going up. Israel, if my labels are the same, what are my two options?
Adding and multiplication.
Oh, look at your, no, for labels. For labels. Look at what it says for labels.
Add and subtract.
Very good. Okay. So everybody, what operation are we going to do? Addition, because it's the same for both. Okay. Now, this goes into what we were doing before we left for Christmas break, isn't it? Okay. So remember, I'm going to kind of go a little bit quickly on this part because today is not about the actual, I mean, yes, we want the answer, of course, but, you know, it's more about finding out why we're adding and not necessarily spending the time, teaching you how to do this because we did that before Christmas. So I'm going to go a little bit fast on this part. So I know that because 4 can fit into 12, I can make both of these into 12ths. Okay. And since this is already 12ths, I just copy the 8. And here's where I find my relationship. So everybody, 4 times what is 12? 3. Okay, so what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, so everybody, what's 8/12 plus 3/12?
11/12.
11/12. Okay, and I know 11 is prime and 12 is composite. And so then the question is, can 11 go into 12 equally? Yes or no? No. I hear a lot of no's in my room. Okay, so 11/12 is the answer there. All right, questions on that before we move on to the next one? Araya and Brandon, I see your hands. Do you have a question?
I forgot to take it down.
Okay. All right, so I need to go to add 2. All right, so here's our next question. So Mrs. Ali collected notebook paper from her students at the beginning of the school year. The model is shaded to show the fraction of this notebook paper that Mrs. Ali used in each of 3 months. Okay, so what would we call the first month? Raising your hand. What fraction names that picture for the first month? Elijah, what fraction is that? That's 8. Unmute yourself. So the fraction there is 8? How many are shaded?
1.
So 1 out of how many? 8. So it's 1/8. Okay. All right, Anthony, what about the second month? What would we call that?
1/4.
1/4. Very good. Okay. And Sadie, what would we call the third month?
1/2.
1/2. Excellent. Okay. So it says then for the question, what fraction of the notebook paper Mrs. Ali collected, what fraction of the notebook paper Mrs. Ali collected was used during these 3 months? Okay. So if I'm drawing a strip diagram, what do I know? Raising your hand. What do I know about that problem? Elijah, what do I know? Elijah, we can't hear you. Brandon, you want to help him out? What do we know?
That we don't have a total.
Okay, so we don't know this. Don't we have 3 pieces of information, guys?
Yes.
Yes, I think some of you are making this hard. It doesn't have to be hard. You can see easily right here. There's 3 pieces of information, right? Okay, so if this is 1/8, this is 1/4, this is 1/2. And what are we talking about? What's the main idea of this problem? What is she collecting?
Notebook paper.
Notebook paper. Okay, so isn't that going to be the same label for all of these? Yes? Okay. So if I'm doing my totals and labels, okay, I'm going to call on some people. All right. Jada, do I know my total or am I trying to find it? Oh, that's very sad. Victor, do I know my total or am I trying to find it?
You are trying to find it.
Very good. And if I'm trying to find it, Victor, what are my two options?
You can either add or subtract.
Oh,
Or
not,
you can multiply.
it's add or multiply. There you go.
Yeah, multiply, sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right, Lyric, do I have the same labels or different?
Different.
Different. And what are my options if I have different labels? Wait, are they different? Look, notebook paper, notebook paper, notebook paper. So those, they're the same. That's okay. All right, so what are my options if my labels are the same?
Adding and subtracting.
Very good. Okay, so everybody, what operation am I doing?
Addition.
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 Okay, very good. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not going to go ahead and solve that one because I want to explain to you what you need to do for your quiz. Okay, so again, let me pop back to that. Remember that before you take your quiz, if you're still confused, there's this second video for you to go back and watch on your own. Okay, so we just did the practice problems together. You're going to go to your quiz. Now, the quiz is going to look the same for every quiz this week, and every quiz this week is graded. Okay, so for the first question of the quiz, it says you will draw and label a strip diagram on paper. You will then make a video explaining your strip diagram. Okay, so the question is right here. Remember, to make a video, you go to the three dots and you click on this little play button with the music. Okay, then you hit record and you're going to do your webcam because you're going to take a video. Okay, so that's the first question, is to make a video with your strip diagram. Then the second question, you're putting in the blank for your totals and labels. In this problem, I blank the total, so my two choices are add or multiply. You're putting either know or don't know. So it's one word. Same for the second or the third question, pardon me. The labels in this word problem are blank, so I will either add or subtract. So you're either writing the same or different. Question 4 is a multiple choice. You just tell me which of the 4 operations you're going to use. And then question 5, you give me the answer. Okay? Any questions on the format of that quiz? All right, so the one thing I will say, because we started so late, we do not have much time to do this. So that means that you guys will have homework tonight. I don't normally like to give you homework, but we just can't, with Rapid ID being like it was today, this has to happen today. If you can't get to it for some reason tonight, then my expectation is that you will do it tomorrow morning, like first thing in the morning. Okay? So after homeroom, you come in and you get this done. It is for a grade. Okay? Brandon, do you have a question? I see your hand is up. Okay. Are there any questions before I let you go to your quiz? All right. Let's go ahead and start on the quiz.